Hi everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've got 3 holiday card projects to share with you that feature some very simple pattern stamping and also feature monochromatic color schemes for each card project. I'm using brand new inks from Pinkfresh Studio, and they have been curated into these color categories and they work together beautifully. I'm also going to be using a stamp positioner today, which is key for getting these patterns down quickly and easily on your projects. So let's jump in and first take a look at the inks that I'm using. I decided to go with 3 categories: the reds and the greens and the blues. And as I said, these colors work beautifully together in the brand new Pinkfresh Studio Dye Ink collection. And I also wanted to use some stamps from this Holiday Greetings Mix 1. This is a new stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, and I wanted to pull out some of the snowflakes and just create some fun patterns with just some tiny elements from that stamp set. So to get started, I'm going to pull out my original size Misty. Now, I'm just going to say it, a stamp positioner is critical for this process. I have been using a Misty since I discovered stamping, and I'm not going to lie, the Misty is actually what made me like stamping. I never really liked stamping before 2017. I've been scrapbooking for a long time, but I rarely stamped until the Misty. So here's the process. I've got this little ruler on the side. I stamp 1 snowflake, and then I'm going to move it up 1 inch on the Misty, re-ink, stamp down. I like to use a little Swiffer cloth to run over smoothly. I don't like pressing with just my fingers, so I keep bringing that thing in. If you're wondering, Cathy, what are you doing? Swiffer cloth. Going to move up another inch, and what I'm doing is just using this first color, and I'm going up the side of the card until I get all of the card covered in this particular, is that a row or a column? I never know. But here's the beautiful thing with the Misty. You can hang the paper outside of the Misty, and when you press it down, it's not going to bend the paper at all. So you just keep going up using the ruler 1 inch at a time, and there you go. We have got the first, is that a column? It's a column, isn't it? Math isn't really my strong suit. But now I'm going to place the snowflake down in the second column. And I'm going to move on to the next color in this particular collection, and that's the key lime. So it's a little bit darker, a little bit bolder, and I'm going to repeat the process. Stamp, move it up 1 inch, put that magnet down, press, ink, repeat. It's actually a very relaxing process. Once you kind of get into the zone with this and you realize, hey, I can actually stamp and things are lined up and they look fantastic, it's pretty fun to create patterns like this. So once I've got the second column lined up, I'm going to move on to the third color. So the process is the same, cleaning the stamp in between each color change, placing the snowflake down into the, well, I guess third position here. And again, taking the next color, this is Grassy Knoll, inking it up and working my way down the card. Now I'm sure if you're a skilled stamper, which I technically really am not, it's because of this Misty tool that I can stamp with success. You could probably do this obviously freehand, but you know what? I love how perfect this is all lined up, because really you're just following your ruler and you're getting fantastic placement and it works great. And here's the thing, when I moved on to this olive color, I had my stamp already picked up with the door. When I stamped the first one down, I don't know why I didn't press it all the way, but there was like a little bit that didn't stamp that well. And here's the other beautiful thing about the Misty. I work my way through, I get all of the olive down, then I just bring it right back down into the original position, ink it up a tiny bit, and now I can stamp that part that I didn't stamp very well, just like that, press it. It's things like that that just make me think this really is a fantastic tool. My panel looks great. Now I will trim a little bit off each side, and I'll just get my paper trimmer and cut, flip it, and cut. I just wanted the snowflakes to be right to the edge, just like that. And I'm going to stamp a little greeting from the set on a little scrap of cardstock. This is, I think, grass green from Gina K. I'm going to use some Gina K embossing ink as well. I've been using this as kind of my go-to ink lately. I did prep the cardstock with the anti-static powder bag too. I don't know why I didn't film that part. Probably because this video is already going to be so long. Bear with me. I'm going to sprinkle on my favorite white powder. This is Alabaster from Brutus Monroe. And I'm going to tap off the excess. And yes, clothespins for heat embossing, I'm telling you, I learned that from my friend Gina K from Stamp TV, and it has changed my life. No burned fingers. I'm using one of my sentiment label dies. This is a set from Simon Says Stamp to cut out most of this, right? Get that part done. But then I'm going to bring it to my paper trimmer and just kind of line it up and cut. Now after I cut this, I realized it wasn't quite even, and I'm kind of a stickler. So here's what I did. I don't show this kind of thing very often, but I'm an old school metal ruler and X-Acto knife girl at heart. And watch this. You hold down the ruler, you hold it so hard, and look at that tiny sliver that you can cut with a blade. Ah, Mama likes that. That's much better. I'm going to score a card base. This is going to be a US A2 card, which is 5.5 by 4.25. I always like to tape my card bases closed so they stay flat while I'm working on them. Now when I lined this all up, I put some foam tape on the back. You can see there that the card panel itself was a little too tall. Well, here's the beauty of this paper trimmer. And I'm going to show you this. Again, I could have cut this out, but look at this. You're going to move it over just for a sliver of cardstock, right? Hold down the guards and press, and it will cut the thinnest amounts off of your card panels. And now, I really love this paper trimmer. I never knew that paper trimmers could cut this well and this straight, so that's my shout out to you, Tim. Fantastic, fantastic tool. Taking off the backers and then popping that up on the green card base. I'll bring in a piece of cardstock to quickly help me to line up my sentiment over there on the left side. And also brought in my clear ruler, and just for a backup. And next, I will finish this off with some shiny silver sequins. I use Gina K Connect glue to adhere them and just work my way down the card. And there you have it, card number 1. I think the sequins are just a nice touch, but you wouldn't need to add sequins. So let's move on to card 2. I'm going to be using the Gina K Designs Wreath Builder template, the largest one, and these are the blues that I'm going to be using. Now I've cut my cardstock to be 4 inches square, and I am going to place the first stamp, it's the same snowflake, right on the edge. So it will hang off just a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to stamp down the first color, and this is the lightest of the blues. I'll clean off my stamp between each stamping, and I will turn the paper 1 turn in the template and then move on to the next color in the series. So start out light, move it on a little darker, stamp it down, move the paper, and proceed. And the thing is, you don't really need to have that magnet. Once you get going, you're just going to stamp and move. But I really do love this Wreath Builder template because it lets you quickly create these patterns that are perfectly lined up, and it's just fun to see it all come together. So the last blue is the darkest color, stamping that down, and then I will proceed 4 more turns until I have all of the colors in the larger snowflakes stamped down. So that's how the wreath's looking so far. And now I'm going to take the small snowflake here and I'm going to place it between the two just like this. Pick it up with the Misty Door. And then I'm going to skip to using the second to last color. This is the Seaside. And I'm going to start my order there. And I will stamp it down so there is some contrast between those two. And then I will turn and just continue in the color order. So moving to the darkest and then starting over with the lightest. And again, turning the paper every time in the template to get this fantastic placement all the way around and just working in color order. Once I get everything down, I have got a fantastic fully enclosed wreath. Look at that, just like that. Ah, I think that is just really pretty. There's a lot of depth going on, but all the colors work beautifully. Now I'm going to stamp the Merry and Bright sentiment from this set, and I actually used the Creative Corner just to make sure that was completely lined up. And I'll be using VersaFine. I thought it would look nice to have a really contrasting black in there, and VersaFine is just such a dark ink. Now when I first stamped it, it didn't quite go down as dark as I'd hoped. So again, beauty of that Misty. Going to stamp it right in the same place and get the perfect stamping of Merry and Bright. I added a couple of the little sub-sentiments from the set so that I could have wishing you a merry and bright Christmas be the sentiment of the card. To finish this off, I put it on a square note card and added a few tiny sequins to the center of each one of the bigger snowflakes. So let's move on to the third and final card. I've gone ahead and trimmed down a panel so it was already small and ready to go. And I've laid the peaceful sentiment at an angle, inking it up with the darkest of the reds. I'm going to stamp this down and get that position exactly how I want it. And then I'm going to clean off actually a little while I go, because those red inks, they like to stick around. But now I'm going to move it up 3 grid squares, and I'm keeping it lined up right there at the 1.5 inch on the horizontal. And I'll take the next color in the grouping that's a little bit lighter and work my way across in this order. So I'm working my way backwards now. I'm going to count 3 down, and again taking the next color in order and repeating. This is a really quick way to just sprinkle some words across a given space, and there you go. I think it looks so good. I'm going to show you the actual finished card. There it is. I just went ahead and stamped a little happy holiday wishes, popped that up, and then put it on the same color card base. But you can kind of see how you don't need a lot of ink variation when you're creating monochromatic schemes. And these patterns are really easy and quick to put together. Once you have that stamp positioner, you just start stamping and moving your paper, and you have created beautiful patterns from little tiny stamps in no time. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my channel if you're not already. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you get notified every time I post. For more information on these cards, I also have a link to my blog post below this video, and you can get more details there.